the first paragraph and the first line up to these that, but said Albert, what crime have I committed? Before that we had completed for the second batch, class 11 as you are all. Let me tell you that what happened actually. Beforehand, we know that Albert Einstein was actually successful in collecting that in collecting the yes from it. Good afternoon. In collecting that the medical certificate that he required, and he wanted to submit it the medical certificate to the headmaster of that school, because he wanted to get away from that school of Munich. Now on that day when Einstein went to that school, that day actually this is coincidentally that Einstein wanted to meet with the head teacher, the headmaster, but beforehand and for this he had to take prior permission to meet with the head teacher, but beforehand he was called by the head teacher to meet with him, and Einstein was not afraid. I told that generally if a student is called by a principal or head of the institution to meet, then that person must be very much worried, but Einstein was not at all worried, because this is not the first time that he was called by the head teacher, and he thought that this time also that he was called to meet with the head teacher only because he had made some wrong, and he did not bother about that what for, actually, as if he was so much accustomed to it, and he knew that head teacher again called him because probably he had made some mistakes, and that is why head teacher had called him. He did not bother about why the head teacher called him. Now it happened that when actually he went to meet with the head teacher, the last day we discussed also, and the head teacher told him, yes Santika, good afternoon. Now head teacher told him that Einstein, I was not going to give any punishment this time, and Einstein was surprised what the head teacher was telling to him, because earlier how many times actually he was called by the head teacher. Every time he had been given the punishment, but now the head teacher was telling Einstein that now I am not going to punish you, but the head teacher informed him that because of his behavior, the head teacher told him that you become incorrigible, you become intolerable, your presence is getting intolerable, because if you present in the class, then you disturb the class. Not only that, you disturb the teacher to teach them. Not only that, you hamper the class of the other students also. So the school has decided that no longer they would keep you in that school. So Einstein was very much surprised, and he actually wanted to know from the head teacher whether he was getting expelled from that school, and the head teacher told, yes, if you think like this, then yes it is that you are going to be expelled from that school. And then actually Einstein could not understand, and lastly he asked this, that said Einstein, what crime have I committed? That Einstein asked this to the head teacher, that you are actually expelling me from that school, so what crime have I committed? What crime have I done that you are expelling me from the school? Now from last day we completed up to this. Now start from there. Your presence in the classroom makes it impossible for the teacher to teach and for the other pupils to learn. Pupils means students. So the head teacher informed these to Einstein that your presence in the classroom makes it impossible for the teacher to teach, because we know that Einstein had almost with all the teachers he had argument. Okay, he used to ask questions to the teachers, and he was not satisfied with what teacher actually used to teach them. And Einstein used to ask questions to the teachers, and that is why the head teacher told that your presence in the classroom makes it impossible for the teacher to teach and for the other pupils to learn. Pupils means students. The head teacher told that your presence in the class, that the teachers find it very difficult to teach the class. Not only that, the students also are getting hampered because of your presence. You refuse to learn. You are in constant rebellion, and no serious work can be done while you are there. Now the head teacher informed this to Einstein that no serious work can be done when you are there. This is an example of short-sightedness. Short-sightedness means the head teacher could not see the future. To whom the head teacher is telling that no serious work can be done? To whom? that after few years, after 10 or 12 years, this person is going to be world famous scientist, Albert Einstein, and to whom on that day head teacher is telling that no serious work can be done when you are there. So this is the head teacher could not see the future. The head teacher was not foresighted at all. The head teacher was short-sighted. He could not see. Yes, it's true that Einstein may disturb the class. Einstein may go against the teacher. Einstein may not be satisfied with what teacher teaches them. But this man, this boy, in after 10, 12 years from that point, that boy is going to be world famous scientist, and to whom the head teacher is telling that no serious work can be done when you are there. So this is an example that how head teacher was how short-sighted. Now at this, Albert failed the medical certificate, almost burning a hole in his pocket. This is a very important question. Now and then, every time, almost every time, question comes from this line, that Albert failed the medical certificate, almost burning a hole in his pocket. What does it mean? Albert had to tell a lie to the doctor, Ernest Well, to collect this certificate. Albert had to pretend that he suffers from nervous breakdown for getting this certificate. Albert had to spend money for giving a treat to Uri after getting this certificate. So Albert had to do all these things only to collect this medical certificate that would prove that he suffers from nervous breakdown, and with the help of that certificate he was supposed to get out from that school. But now he could not, he actually even did not produce this certificate to the head teacher, and head teacher was telling him that you have been expelled from the school. So there is no use of that certificate, and that is why Albert failed that the medical certificate was burning a hole in his pocket. Means here burning a hole in his pocket means the medical certificate that he actually had collected this medical certificate by telling a lie, by pretending, by spending money, all these had become useless, and that is why Albert found that as if the medical certificate, he failed, the medical certificate was burning a hole in his pocket. I was going to leave anyway, he said. Albert did not produce the certificate to the teacher because there is no use of producing the certificate, because Albert wanted to produce the certificate to leave the school. Already the head teacher informed that you are leaving the school. So Albert actually told the head teacher that I was going to leave anyway. He said, Albert told, I'm going to leave this school. Then we are in agreement at least, Einstein, the head said, the head teacher told. So this is the last time that this is probably the first time and last time that we come in an agreement. It means that beforehand, whatever the head teacher told Einstein, Einstein go against them. Einstein went against them. And that is why the head teacher told that there we are in agreement at least. Einstein means this is the first time that they were in agreement. Question may come, what was the agreement? Agreement was that the head teacher wanted Einstein to leave the school, and Einstein also told that yes, he wanted to leave the school. So that is the agreement that Einstein wanted to, the head teacher wanted to tell. Beforehand, whenever the head teacher told Einstein to do something, or what instruction the head teacher had given Einstein, every time Einstein went against it. They actually disagreed with that point, and that is why the head teacher told that we are in agreement at least, Einstein. For a moment, Albert was tempted to tell the man what he thought of him and of his school. Now Albert was as if he almost lost his patience. He was tempted, to tell to the head teacher that what do you feel of yourself? What do you think of yourself? What do you think of your school? You are just telling me, you are insulting me in such a way that he wanted to tell this to the head teacher. Then he stopped himself, but he actually restricted himself. He controlled himself. He controlled his anger because he disliked the head teacher the most, and he was tempted to tell this. What do you think of your school, and what do you think of you? But every time you're insulting me like this. But somehow Einstein controlled himself. Sometimes I feel that sometimes this situation comes to us, that when you are talking to your teacher, when you are talking to your principal, head teacher, sometimes you become very much irritated and wanted to say something big to that person opposite to you. But you had to control. Here Einstein also controlled himself. He wanted to say something to the head teacher, but he controlled himself. Without another word, holding his head high, he stalked out. He stalked out means just walk out without any sound. Holding his head high, this is important, means as if Einstein, as if he was feeling proud what he had done. He did not feel same that he had been expelled from that school, and for this he did not have any sigh feelings. He was not feeling the same at all. Probably if you take in other situation, if a student had been expelled from school, then he must feel sigh. Okay, he must be ashamed of it. But here Einstein holding his head high as if he was proud of him, and he was not feeling the same at all, and that is why by holding his head high, he just stalked out of that room. He walked out of that room without any sound. "Shut the door after you," shouted the head. When Einstein was coming out of the head teacher's chamber, the head teacher, the headmaster told that shut the door behind you. Einstein ignored him. Einstein did not listen. Oh, what you are telling. Einstein ignored, Einstein did not listen to that teacher. Oh, what you are telling. Einstein actually ignored him. Einstein did not, accomplish the order that given to him by the head teacher that to shut the door, but Einstein did not. He just came out of that room. He walked straight on out of the school where he had spent 5 miserable years without turning his head to give it a last look. Now, I feel that this must be very emotional situation for each and every student. That when you are actually leaving the school permanently, suppose this will come after 1 year, being the class 12 student, when you will leave this school, leave your BMS, then you must feel very sorry for this, that I had spent so many years here. You would miss the situation, miss the environment, you will miss your friends, you will miss the teacher, you will miss your classroom and everything. I think every student misses this. Okay, this is a very emotional situation for each and every student, but this is different for Einstein because he did not enjoy the school life. He had spent 5 miserable years. Here miserable means that tormenting years. He did not enjoy the school life at all in that school of Munich. That is why when he was just getting out of that school finally and permanently, means he was not coming back to that school anymore, that without turning his head to give it a last look, he even did not turn his head like this after getting out of that main gate. He did not look out at that school to see for it, to see it for the last time. So this emotion did not work for Einstein. We know because Einstein could not accustom himself in that school atmosphere. He did not like the school atmosphere anymore, and that is why this is different from that usual situation. I told you can feel it. You can feel it that what would be the situation for a student when he or she is leaving the school finally permanently. But this did not happen. This is different in the context for Einstein because the school life was a tormenting one for him. He did not enjoy at least in that school. That is why when he was coming out of the school from the main gate, he did not even look back in the school. Now he could not think of anyone he wanted to say goodbye to, and this is also usual that when a student is leaving the school permanently, that he or she wants to meet with every teachers, wants to meet with the non-teaching staff, with the aunties, with the clerk of the school, because actually he or she has spent so many years amidst them. So these all people were just like his or her family members, and every student does this. But here this is different for Einstein. Einstein came out of the school and he could not remember anybody to whom he wanted to meet. He wanted to meet personally to say goodbye, that I'm going out. I'm going out from the school permanently. So he did not find anyone. There was nobody there in that school of Munich to whom he wanted to say goodbye personally. He was so much disgusted. He was so much irritated with that school. Indeed, Yuri was almost the only person in Munich he felt like seeming before he left the town. He had come to hate almost as much as the school, and as he was leaving the school permanently, so no need to stay in Munich as a paying guest. So he was living Munich also, and he actually disliked that place, disliked the town, as he disliked the school also, because we know that where Einstein used to stay as a paying guest, he did not like the slum violence. So we discussed this all. So the actually his staying place also, it was very much disgusted, irritating to him, and there also he wanted to he also left the town Munich, and in the whole Munich there is only one to whom he wanted to and wanted to say goodbye, and that is Yuri, his friend, his real friend. So he only wanted to say goodbye to Yuri before he was leaving Munich. Now Elsa was back in Berlin, and he had no other real friends. And Elsa, his cousin, had got to Berlin. We know Elsa's father had a business in Berlin, so Elsa stays in Berlin, another town, another city in Germany. And actually Albert left Munich, and there is only one to whom he wanted to say goodbye, and that is Yuri. In MCQ question may come that there is only one person to whom Albert wanted to say goodbye, and name the person. This is Yuri. Okay, Yuri was the real friend, and Yuri came when Einstein was leaving Munich permanently. Goodbye and good luck, said Yuri when he left. And when Einstein left Munich, Yuri came and bade him goodbye. You are going to a wonderful country, I think. And he told, yes, Yuri told that he was going to a wonderful country. Okay, wonderful country. I hope you will be happier there. I hope you will be happier there. And this bid, this told Yuri told Einstein that you are going to, a different country, and there he told that he might be happier there. And Yuri wished him best of luck, and Yuri also wished that going to Milan, because Einstein's parents actually live in Milan, so he wants to. Yuri bade him good luck, and Yuri told that you are going to be a different country, and I hope you will be happier there. So that's the end of this story. Einstein at school. Have you understood? If you have any question, please. Anybody? Do you have any queries? Do you have any queries? No, sir. Thank you, Santika. I feel all of you have understood. Now, as I generally do, I'm giving few questions. Please take down these questions, please. Take down this question, okay? Okay. So take down a few questions from there. Write down. What is true education according to Einstein? What is true education according to Einstein? The answer we will get from that very first beginning of that story, that Einstein told that learning events, learning facts is not education. Okay. There we will have to write. Next. What was Einstein's plan to leave the school in Munich? What was Einstein's plan? What was Einstein's plan to leave the school in Munich? Sangeeta, it would be better if you can write down rather than you are doing a recording. It would be better if you can write down. You people are getting so much lazy, Sitting at home in lockdown period, you are getting so much busy, lazy. You cannot write it down. I am just telling this. That second question I told. What was Einstein's plan to leave the school in Munich? What was Einstein's plan to leave the school in Munich? Next. Who was Yuri? Who was Yuri? Question mark. Who was Yuri? Sir, bolun to class mein. Bolun class mein. Who was Yuri? Who was Yuri? Question mark. How did he help Albert to accomplish his plan? How did he help Albert to accomplish his plan? Next. quote one sentence. You are the world's worst liar. You are the world's worst liar. You are the world apostrophe s. You are the world's worst liar. In quotation. Then write down. Who said this to whom? Who said this to whom? Question mark. Why? You are the world's worst liar. Hyphen. Who said this to whom and why? Next, the quote is another line. Albert failed the medical certificate almost burning a hole in his pocket. Albert failed the medical certificate almost burning a hole in his pocket. Hyphen explain. Albert failed the medical certificate almost burning a hole in his pocket. Hyphen explain. Okay, so these are the question. I feel these are the important question. Apart from these, there are other few questions also, and you should prepare for MCQ for your exam. So today we are completing this Albert Einstein at school. Next, in my next class, I will start the next chapter, that is Mother's Day. That would be your second last chapter from Snapshot. We are having another 2 chapters left from Snapshot, that is Mother's Day and Birth. So next day, in my next class, we must start Mother's Day. So today, till then, thank you for attending my class.